I've been to a load of shops and I've got an absolute ton of bulbs, and we're going to find out which shop's bulbs are the best, and more importantly, whether the price makes a difference. So let's grow it. So the first shop that I went to was Poundland, and if you aren't familiar with what Poundland is, everything's a pound, and at this time of year they don't have a lot of gardening stuff in, but they did have a couple of different bulbs and bits and bobs, and I did get some of these tulips. They didn't have the multicolour ones because they had a box there but there was none in it, but I got these pink ones and there's 8 in a bag for £1, so if they grow well, that's a bit of a bargain. I mean, compared to everywhere else, which was like 2 or 3 times the price. Yeah, hopefully these will be quite good. And next I went to B&M, which is another discount retailer in the UK, and these didn't actually have anything. Now, they do have some bigger shops that do have a garden centre on the side, and I didn't have time to go out to one of those ones, like, because it was a bit of a drive away. But yeah, couldn't find anything in there, so nothing from B&M. Next I went to another discount retailer in the UK called Home Bargains, and this one is one of the biggest shops they've got. It's brand new, and it's got a massive garden centre on the side as well, and all they had was daffodils, and I was a bit disappointed by that because, like I say, it's got a massive garden centre on the side of it, so I would have thought that they'd have some kind of bulbs in by now. They've got rid of all the garden stuff for Halloween and Christmas junk, so I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, got some daffodil bulbs and I'm going to be using them for another video. So these were £2.99 for all of them. So yeah, not all's lost, but I would have liked to have seen a bit more than this. Next I went over to Aldi. I was just driving past and I spotted them outside, so I decided to go in, and normally these do gardening stuff all year round. They do different type of deals and events and stuff. So like I said, these bulbs were just outside, and I got some Alliums for £2.99 and some little iris bulbs for £1.69, and these look all right, so we'll have a closer look at these in a minute. Next I went over to B&Q, and these had a massive selection of bulbs in, obviously because it's the time of year and they've got a rather big garden centre, so yeah, I was expecting to see quite a good selection there. I wasn't disappointed, so I got some tulips. I chose these sort of red jimmies. I got some alliums and some iris, just to compare to the cheaper shop ones, and in the likes of Aldi, I mean, they're the same price. Or actually cheaper because they were 3 for £7. So yeah, I'd like to see how these turn out, what the difference in quality is. And then finally I went to Lidl, which is another discount supermarket, and I got these tulips and alliums, and I went because they was advertising that they was going to be having loads of gardening stuff in this week, and I got there and this was all there was, jumbled up in like a basket at the front door. Yeah, they didn't have any of the other stuff they was advertising, so that was a bit of rubbish. So now that we've seen what we've got and where we got them from, let's go and have a bit of a closer look and see how they compare. So first today I'm going to be looking at the alliums, and it was actually the most expensive pack of bulbs that I got today, and it was these ones from Lidl, which were £3.69 for a pack, which yeah, quite a surprise that Lidl would be the most expensive. Then we've got Aldi, which was £2.99 for a pack, and B&Q, which were £3 for a pack, or 3 for £7. And when you take that deal into consideration, it turns out that B&Q was the cheapest, which I wouldn't expect B&Q to be doing cheaper bulbs than Lidl and Aldi, but yeah, there you go. So with that, let's open them up and have a look what we've got. So first off, we've got the little ones. Try and do these without damaging them, just so I can keep the information cards. So if you remember, these ones were £3.69 for 2 bulbs. They're quite nice looking bulbs. Then we've got the ones from Aldi. Oh, that's not good, is it? Mwah, mwah. Yeah, that's not as good. And then we've got the ones from B&Q. So I mean, that's as good a reason as any to make sure that you check your bulbs when you're buying them. I do think that's still going to grow, but yeah, it's hard to tell. Hopefully it will. I mean, they're fairly resilient plants and looks fairly intact there at the bottom. So yeah, hopefully that'll be fine. So there we go, and as you can see from Lidl and Aldi, we got the 2 bigger bulbs, and from B&Q we got the 8 smaller bulbs and this little tiny extra bonus bulb. So I mean, just from first impressions, look, I mean, looking at the little ones, these seem to be better quality. I mean, just looking at them, they look to be in better condition than, especially than these ones at Aldi, which are all quite damaged and they look like seconds, to be honest. I mean, maybe the seconds for these, that'd be interesting considering they're only like 60p cheaper. And then we've got the ones from B&Q, which do look quite nice. Like I said, these are smaller, and we've got the little bonus thing there. I think that was maybe fell off this one. Yeah, they all look quite nice in general. Not sure about them too, but yeah, the other ones look great. So next up, I've got 2 packs of iris, and the first one is from Aldi, which was £1.69, which is one of the cheaper packs that I've got today, so that's really good. And then I've got the ones from the 3 for £7 offer in B&Q, again, £3 a pack. And they look fairly similar, so let's have a look at those. And then next up, we've got the irises, and these ones are the ones from Aldi for £1.69, so that's a good price. So let's have a look at these ones. Just open them up. Tell you what, I'll get the scissors. Yeah, there we go. It says we've got 25. Oh, I'm gonna have counter mana. 25. And then we've got the ones from B&Q, 3 for £7 or £3 a pack. Yep, there's actually 16 in that one, so we have got an extra bonus bulb, which is quite good really, because that one looks a little bit ropey, so it's good to see that there's an extra one in there. So I would have been a bit disappointed with the quality of those. Yeah, just looking at them, I mean, these Aldi ones look like they're probably better quality, which is in contrast to the Allium bulbs, which were pretty poor quality. So yeah, interesting to see which ones turn out the best. And then finally, I've got 3 packs of tulip bulbs to compare. We've got the ones from Poundland. As the name suggests, these cost £1, and if these turn out well, then you can't really complain about that. That's an absolute bargain, because you're not going to get a pack of bulbs for less than £1, are you? Then we've got the ones from Lidl. These ones were actually £1.69, so I'm not sure why they got such a big difference in price in there. With the Alliums, which were £3.69, there's no prices on them, so I don't know what the deal is with that. And then we've got the ones from B&Q, which were 3 for £7 or £3 a pack. So these actually worked out the most expensive in the tulips when you take that deal into consideration. Or if you even buy a pack on your own, they work out the most expensive. So let's have a look at those. Here we go, and let's open the Poundland ones first. There we go. This is... Yeah. Then we've got the ones from Lidl. Should stop throwing them over there, really. Nope. And then finally the ones from B&Q. So there we go, and looking at them, they all look fairly similar, to be honest. I think these have been the most consistent across the different retailers as far as how they look goes. And then we've got 8 from Poundland, yeah, and we've got 8 from Lidl, and then we've got the 10 from B&Q. So yeah, be interested to see how these turn out. And I've just found some containers under the table, so that's really great because I can make up some containers with these as well. I'll do one with the alliums, one with the irises, and one with the tulips, and we'll compare how they grow to the ones that grow directly in the ground outside, and that's another interesting thing to look at. Okay, so this is where I'm going to be planting the bulbs, and it's quite a nice bed, this actually. I've worked in a bit of compost, and this is where my beetroots were. I took a couple out at the weekend, and I've made a bit of room sort of ready for these bulbs to go in. And I can leave these here now for over winter until spring, because I'm not going to be using this bed until next year. So this is pretty good spec. And all I'm going to do here is just use a couple of these canes just to mark out a bit of a grid, just so we can keep them separate and we know which ones are which next year then. And there we go, that's done. That's absolutely smashing. So we've got 9 squares. Only need the 8 because we've got 3 alliums, 2 iris and 3 tulips, and then I've got a bit of room left here at the end just for some more bulbs I'm going to do another video on in a couple of weeks' time. So first up, we've got the alliums, and in this first square I'm going to be putting in the little ones, and while we'll get 2 each in the little and the Aldi ones, I'm going to put both of these in the bed, and then I'll save half of the B&Q ones for putting in the container. The pack for the little one doesn't really say any kind of instructions or anything, so I'll just do what we do with normal bulbs, which is you want to be burying them to like around 10 or 12 centimetres. Make sure they're like at least double the height of the bulb. And next in the middle square we've got the ones from Aldi. These are a bit better on the instructions on the front, so these do say that they need full sun. They say that plant between September and December, they flower between April and May, and they like the well drained soil, and they grow to 120 centimetres. And then in the last square, we'll stick the B&Q ones in. Like I say, I'll use half of these, I'll use half of the container. And again, these ones are really good on the instructions. So, like I say, around 10 to 12 centimetres deep, and then the sort of same distance between each other. These ones actually did say that they'd grow to around 80 centimetres high, so that's something that we'll be able to see once they come up. And there we go, that's the Alliums planted, and next we're on to the iris bulbs. So this time again in the first square we've got the Aldi ones, and again these are quite good instructions on the pack, and these say sun or partial shade, plant in August to December, but these flower in February to March, and they said that they do like the well-drained soil, and these only grow to around 10 centimetres tall, so these are quite a small little plant. I'll be saving half of these ones for the containers, because we get quite a few, like 25 in this pack, so yeah, I'll save half of these and we'll do a nice container with them. And then onto these second ones, which is the ones from B&Q, and these are Glory of the Snow, which is a nice looking variety. Again, the B&Q ones do come with nice instructions on the pack, so that's good if you like that sort of thing. These just say depth about 5 centimetres, which again is about double the size of the bulb, and then the same between each bulb. So we can bunch these in quite nicely, and these will look really nice when they come up. So that's both of them in now, and we'll move on to the tulips. So first I'm going to put in the ones from Poundland. These are going in the first square, and the instructions on the pack for these was really good. They've got sort of little cartoon instructions on one side, and then on the back they've got loads of full coloured photos, which was really good, and that wasn't on any of the other ones. So yeah, plus points for them. Again, cheapest bulbs, seem like they've got the best packaging. Let's just hope the actual bulbs themselves flower, and hope they turn out good. So next we're going to do the middle square, which is the ones from Lidl. Apparently these change colours according to the Happy Chameleon on the pack, and these instructions on the pack are a little bit better than the other bulbs I got from Lidl, but it's still just a little diagram, sort of saying the depth and the height that they grow to, so nothing amazing, but they do the job. Yeah, I'm going to save half of these again. I'm going to be saving half of each tulip and do a container with half of each, just to compare them again. And finally we've got the B&Q ones going in the last square, and as with others, double the depth, and then same distance apart from each other. Again, these like the sun or partial shade. I've got 10 in this pack, which is 2 more than the others, so that's really good. So yeah, we're putting 5 in this square. And there we go, that's it, they're all in. So all I've got to do now is give them a good watering, and then maybe give them a covering over with a bit of horticultural fleece, or maybe some kind of nets if you've got those, just to keep the birds off them. So here we go, here's the first container, and then this one I'm going to be putting the alliums in and the iris bulbs that we've got left over. So if you remember, these ones are the B&Q alliums. I'm going to be sticking these in the middle just as a bit of a separator, just so that we know which ones are which. So I've got a couple of these, I've got 3 of these, so I'm just going to stick them in there. And this compost's really nice. I've just got it out of the bag, and it's fairly damp, so I'm not even going to need to water these because it's so soft. So you can just push them straight in, and they'll be absolutely fine. And just because it's in a container, I'm quite happy to just stick these in closer together, because they're not going to be living here permanently. So yeah, just stick these in. And then on this side I'm going to be putting the ones from Aldi. Again, these were the nicer looking bulbs, so I'm not sure if that's going to have any kind of difference, but I'm going to poke all these in here. Again, just because these aren't the permanent home, these are just going to be growing up here and they'll be gone next year, so I'm quite happy to just bunch these in and just keep poking them down there. And then on this side is the B&Q ones. Again, just going to be sticking all these in, as many as I can fit in, and they'll look quite nice when they're all bunching out when they come up next year. That's absolutely smashing. There we go, and like I say, I'm not going to bother watering this because the compost's really damp anyway, so don't want to overwater them at this stage and then I end up rotting. And then here is another container, and I'm going to be using this one for the tulip bulbs. If you remember, I've saved a couple from each shop, just to compare to the ones in the ground, because I had a couple more of these bulbs. So on this side I'm going to be putting in the Poundland ones, and with it being a container, I'm quite happy again for these to be a bit closer together than I would do in the ground. And again, I'm just going to push these down into the compost. It's really nice and soft, so they'll go down really easily, and then I can cover them over later. And then I'm just going to use this little thing to sort of mark in the middle there, just so we know where they are. And then in the middle I'm going to be putting the ones from Lidl, another 4 from Lidl there, so I'm going to just poke them down. There we go, and I'm just going to stick another tag there. And then finally on this end, I'm going to be putting the B&Q ones in. And like I say, we have the 10 of these ones, 2 extra, so I've got 5 to put in here. So I'm going to poke all them in. There we go. And then I'm just going to, actually I'm going to take these off. And I'm just going to cover it over with some more compost and make that a bit deeper, so there's a bit more depth above them. And that's that. So like I say, I'm not going to water these just because the compost's already really damp. I might give them a watering tomorrow, depending on what the weather's like. I just don't want them to rot if they get a bit too wet. And then again, keep these out of sight of any hungry squirrels, because you'll see them legging it off down the end of your garden with these under each arm. So that's it for today. Those bulbs are planted and I can't wait to see how they turn out and whether the price even makes a difference. I'll do another video in the spring just comparing the results and we'll see which ones turn out the best. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel just so that you can see all of my other videos and so that you don't miss that update in the spring. And I'll see you next time.